Hello my lovelies, Carm3D on the tube with you. Today I'm going to share with you something that occurred to me recently that frankly I'm surprised I hadn't realized earlier, much earlier. And it has to do with corrective joint morphs, or smart skins, or whatever term you're familiar with or comfortable with. This is kind of a lead-in to the next version of Lightwave that's coming up, because it's going to have some nifty tools for creating these kinds of morphs, but how we implement them is up to us. So this is something that I use, and I'm just going to share it with you today. So I created two characters. They're identical in their structure and animation, except for the orange and blue coloring. And let's take a look at some of the values here, because we need something that gives a reading that we will use to trigger these various joint corrective morphs. So if we look at the thigh bone here and scroll through the animation, we're starting at 29 something here. We're up at negative 41, negative 29 to negative 41, and over here we are negative 48. So something is really screwy here, because these values do not represent what we're clearly seeing, the wide arc of rotation, but it's only varying around 20 degrees or so. And that's because this thigh bone is a child of this pole vector. So we cannot use that to gauge, to trigger our morphs. So what I will do is create another bone that is there specifically to track the orientation of this thigh that is not a child of this pole. So I'm going to go here and then clone this. I'll call this thigh tracker. And I will make it a child of the very top of this hierarchy for the leg. And let's shrink that down. Clone it. The reason why I'm cloning it is because I want a base bone that zeroes out the rotation values. Okay. So now we can see the rotation is 0 at this time, at frame 0. Well, we need to tell it to track, so let's select this calf bone, store selected, and target. Okay. So now as this thing follows along, it is not a child of anything going on over here. So it is unadulterated and giving us the true rotation values of the thigh compared to the rest of the body. So we got negative 48 here, and then down here we got 46, so it's quite a big difference. So now I will get into why I have two characters, and this goes into my recent realization. So what I'm going to do is I'll stop the video and I'm going to repeat the process, adding another tracker here. Now let's take a look at these values here. You can think of this tracker as a kind of a joystick. As the leg does its IK thing, this little joystick is rotating around following the motions. And what we can do is, well, theoretically, when we have the next version of Lightwave, we can create a joint morph for when the thigh is up here, another one for when the thigh is back here, etc. And what we'll do is, well, we won't do it based on this particular animation. We'll zero everything out and rotate it purely on the heading, excuse me, on the pitch angle. And then we'll make another one for rotation on the heading in each direction. Anyway, let's look up here. Alright, so we think of this is a joystick, so we got some rotation going on in the heading, more rotation going on in the pitch. But what I discovered when I was doing this, and I was baking these values, because you do need to bake the values for the triggering of the morphs to work. It can't do it based on these constraints. You need to bake the values so it can look at the actual keys. What I learned was this section. I'm looking at this, and I think this example may not be the best to demonstrate what I'm getting at. I may need to alter the animation to show you. Let's add some more frames here. Let's see if I can do this at one shot with both of them. Now, I know this would be very painful to do with your real legs, but this is in an attempt to showcase my point very well. I'm not sure. I'm going to proceed as if what I have in mind is going to work. So we'll see what happens. Alright, this is my point of this whole video. The crux. The cherry filling, if you will. Is that you do not get true values using the heading and pitch. Okay, you would think that when the leg rotates up, you got the pitch going on. When it rotates back, you got the pitch going on. When it goes to the side, you got the heading. But there's some weirdness going on behind the scenes, under the hood, that we are not privy to. And it has to do with the bank, although, you know, doing this, I don't see anything going on in the bank. But let's proceed anyway. I think I might be right when I get to the end of this. Otherwise, I'm just going to be embarrassing myself. But anyway, let's make some alterations to this second character, the way it does this. Okay, so I'm going to call this tracker pitch. I'll clone this here. And trust me, I have seen the difference Okay, we got tracker pitch base, tracker pitch, tracker heading, so if I tell this to be a child of the original guy, we got 0, 0, 0 on rotation. Let's rotate it on the bank negative 90 degrees. Add a child bone. Okay, what we're going to do, let's see, select this guy, store selected, select our new, oh, I got to put him in the position 0. And we can make him longer as well. Alright. Start over. Store selected. Target rather. Okay. Now, let's turn this off. We're tracking all. What I'm going to do is, the whole point of this is, you don't get to true values unless you're only using the heading. Okay. The reason for that is that the deeper you get in the order of rotation, it does the heading first, then it does the pitch, and then it does the bank. Every time you go down one step, it is using the other values to derive the value of the channel you're looking at. And I think this will become clear for you soon. So, let's see, I think I may have done this backwards. Let me see. Let me go in rotate mode here and go to local. Okay, so that's good. No, wait a minute, that's bad. Yeah, this should actually be the pitch. And this one should be the heading. And when I say pitch and heading, I'm referring to pitch and heading of the original thigh bone that we are tracking. We could change these base bones around, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is these guys right here. So you can see, while I have local rotation on, you can see the orange is the heading. In my case, I set it to orange. So that's going to rotate like so when this thing rotates on the pitch. And this one, its heading rotation is oriented for when the leg swings out like that. So that's heading, and that's pitch. Alright, so let's look over here. Keyframes, okay. We're only doing the heading. Only doing the heading. Okay, I don't know if they're both tracking yet. Yeah, they are, okay. You can see the one that is tracking for this is not moving a whole lot while the leg is moving forward and backward. It's still over here. But so we're essentially using two single axis joysticks. One only goes one way, the other one only goes the other way. And if I'm right, we are going to see a difference in values between looking at these two guys and looking at this guy. So let's do some comparisons. I want to move this over to my second window so we can get some room. Okay. So let's look at the pitch guy. We got negative 48.43, negative 48.42. Well, they're pretty close. Let's look over here. 44.45. 45.45. There's some deviations. Let's see what happens when we go way out over here. Okay. This is our heading guy. 89.14. Alright, this is clearly a bad example. And I'm feeling a little silly right now. But I have noticed it. I have noticed some... I'm trying to think of what the situation was that really caused a difference. And I don't remember. But there were some things, some particular angles that it hit. I don't know if it was utilizing the bank rotation at some point or not, but probably not. But I was seeing some distinct differences and also some incorrect triggering of that morph, that you know, the joint correction morph it was doing while I was tracking, and doing it as two separate single axis joysticks instead of a single joystick was giving me accurate results, whereas this method was not. So I guess I'll stop the video here because I need to get back to work on other stuff, but just keep this in mind. If you're seeing weirdness while doing it this way, you can try it this way, and it should do the trick. So, sorry I couldn't show you the big differences here. By the way, this works equally for shoulders as well. And that's it. Carm3D signing off.